right. You know what is really hard, Allie? It's being the session that's right after lunch.
I know.
Because first of all, what's going to happen is everyone's going to be like, oh, crap. They're up there talking. I don't need to be here. And I'm going to exit the room. And now we're going to have like a mass exodus, which is cool.
It's okay. Now is your moment.
It is your moment. So if you are not here for our riveting talk about open source, and it's going to be good.
It's going to be great.
Now is your chance to escape. We're giving you a fair warning right now. All right, for everybody else, we are super excited that you're here. We're gonna have a really fun discussion today. My name is Nick Skytland. I met some of you yesterday that were here for the morning session, and this is...
I'm Allie Llewellyn. I also work at Gloo, and I'm really excited to be here to talk about open source.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do in this session, we should, round of applause. There we go.
Well, before we get into it, can we have people come toward the middle?
Yeah, if you're here for the session and you want to listen to us.
We would really like to see your face.
We would love for y'all to come here.
Come this way.
We're actually going to be doing an experiment. And you're going to be our guinea pig.
You don't want to miss it.
It's going to be really fun. So we actually need you. It'd be easier if you're relatively closer to us. And then we're also going to try to have a discussion in this session a little bit. We'd like you to speak into this. We're going to hopefully inspire you a little bit.
Thank you, our brave pioneer.
Share some of the stuff that we're doing, and then we're going to do an experiment, and then we're going to have a discussion. So that's kind of the game plan for this session. Does it sound good?
I think they're migrating.
All right. This is good. This is fun. This is very participatory in this session, which is actually, when you think about open source and you think...
Perfect.
Yeah, it's exactly what we want. We say the values of open source and open innovation are three things. What are they, Allie?
They are collaboration, participation, and transparency.
Yeah, so we want to be a community of people that are collaborating. We want everybody to be an active participant, and we want to be transparent. So yesterday I was talking about this idea of the builder's burden, the weight of knowing that what we build will literally shape future generations. We're going to lay the Roman roads together. And so this was all kind of grounded in that story of Nehemiah. And we shared a few things about the story, that we needed a shared standard, that we needed common tools. But what was the last thing that I said we really needed? Those things are important, but we really needed. Nehemiah couldn't do it alone. He needed
a community.
Thank you, Allie. So participatory. I love this. All right. So we are going to share a little bit more today about some of the stuff that we did not get a chance to unpack in the keynote because there's only 18 minutes and I had a job to do. So today it's going to be a lot more fun. We're going to have a little conversation about this. You know, Nehemiah chapter 3 is one of the most overlooked books in the Bible. Does anybody know why? It's a lot like Numbers. It's basically a construction log. It's name after name, family after family, each one assigned a specific section of the wall. Goldsmiths built next to perfume makers, priests next to merchants. And the point was not that everyone had the same skill set. The point was, it was a community of people coming together, choosing to build with common standards, the qubit, common tools, and that they were building for a purpose. And so we really want to kind of sit with that a little bit more today and talk about the community part of that story. And so we titled this session, Who Evaluates the Evaluators? And we shared yesterday, we have the standard and we do these evaluations, but we're doing this work. And by the way, this is Malin from our team. Everyone give Malin a round of applause. So she is new on our team and she literally is the builder running the evaluation. So when you go to the leaderboard and you see how AI does against the measures of human flourishing, Malin's the one clicking the button. What would it look like if we had 1,000 Malins and we were evaluating? Malin's like, yes, please. The harvest is great, the workers are few. I need more help. But then we ask ourselves oftentimes of how do we evaluate the evaluations that we're doing? How do we get together a group of people to think about the evaluations we could and should be doing? We have a lot of ideas. We haven't even talked much about the adversarial evaluator yet. Anthropic's done a lot of cool research around, the values of Claude, but the other models don't have things like that. There's a lot of stuff to do. So what we're going to do is share a little bit about what we've done so far, give you a little more sense of that, just to give you a sense of that open source is more than just code or data. There's a lot to it. And then we're going to do an experiment to show you what we call a user contribution system or an aggregation system. And then we're going to have a discussion about the community. So with that,
It's going to be amazing.
let's go.
All right, so let's start with why open matters. Some of you know stories that Nick and I love to tell about NASA. You saw some of the great images from mission control, from the lunar orbit. But one of the things we're most proud of that we worked on was we led the open government movement at NASA. So as part of that, what we specialized in was how can we aggregate the contributions of people all across the world toward NASA's goals, toward our mission to advance human spaceflight. And so we did that in a number of different ways. Like what?
Yeah, so first of all, we planned large convenings of people.
They were amazing.
So we talked a lot about the hackathon yesterday. So where 2 or more builders are gathered is a lot of fun. And so we want to do that regularly. We did that in multiple cities at the same time. So over a 48-hour period of time, we'd have 250 cities around the world, and we'd have 20,000 developers building code. So that's one example.
And here's the thing that we learned in that, right? Open isn't a feature of what we build, it's a governance model. We aggregated all those builders, we connected them all around the globe because it made them better. It made them more accountable, it made them more connected, and their contributions took on a meaning that really mattered. We love to say in that environment that open government is about culture, not just technology or policy. A lot of you probably have an AI policy, but do you have an AI culture? And that's part of why we're talking today about open source.
And oftentimes, when you think about innovation in your organization, there's a lot of different ways to set up innovation. It's like maybe it's someone else's job or you have an innovation unit. But what we really, in a true democratization of open source type approach, what we want to do is that anybody who desires to participate, no matter how seemingly inconsequential their contribution, should be allowed to participate.
Yeah.
And if you could aggregate those contributions together using, I don't know, say technology, and the community could benefit from all of this, that's what we're talking about here.
Exactly. And we want to apply that same lens to AI in the church. So a few highlights for those of you who don't know as much about open source. First thing is this, the problem with AI, you heard Nick talk about this yesterday, is a human formation problem. We are so aware that those models that we use every day are secularizing the viewpoint and the experience of people who ask them questions and are getting their responses. Secondly, closed AI is a power issue. The current state of the market right now is that a small number of companies control what the largest AI models learn. We're all aware, here we are in Silicon Valley, and they control how they respond and what they say is true. Thousands of companies like yours and like mine are building on top of those models, creating a rapid and growing dependency on what those organizations decide and build into their products.
And may I add, so the value of a community, right, is that we know as the Christian church that community gives us discernment. How often have you been in a situation where you just needed wise counsel in your life and you could go to a community and people would speak truth and wisdom into your life? We need that, right? What we don't need is one engineer making a value decision by a code that they're writing and influencing an entire world with that. So part of this is like, how do we do that well together as a community where it's very easy to just do this in a room by yourself on a computer, but how could we collectively choose to do that?
Exactly. And that bias that builds into that process compounds over time. We talked this morning, Tyler was talking about when they're going to let the AGI out, right? And as that AGI develops, it multiplies this bias because it builds on what came before. That's why right now the choices we make as developers and as builders are so incredibly significant. And if we don't align those choices now, we'll lose our window to do so. Next reality about open, accountability requires transparency. We've all learned this, right? In business, closed systems are hard to have oversight over. Without visibility into training data and model decisions, into processes, it's really there's no meaningful way to assess and hold models accountable. The faith ecosystem right here has unique values at stake. We all know we're not getting biblical answers out of these models, and faith-based communities like all of ours deserve tools that reflect what we hold dear and what we value.
I would say that the faith ecosystem, we could also, I don't know if anyone would argue with me on this, but I think we could characterize it as a highly fractured ecosystem.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really, really good work going on, but it's oftentimes pretty siloed, right? And so part of the discussion today is what could we do to break down the silos and share the really good work? I mean, a really good example right now, how many of y'all are setting up agents or using Claude Cowork? How many of y'all are? All of you are probably doing brilliant work. I would love to learn from all the prompts you're writing and the instructions you're giving your agents, but there's not really a mechanism for us to share that type of thing yet, right? So just imagine the power if you could do that times, more.
And here's the bottom line, friends. The future belongs to those who show up now. And guess who showed up? Here you are. Look at your neighbor and say, way to show up. Right? This is the moment. And you being here and even asking these questions is how communities come to the table and define the future for this kind of technology.
Yeah, people usually hate attending the sessions that Allie and I lead because it's usually not very entertaining so much as it is participatory. We want you to talk, we want you to engage. And oftentimes people will come to a conference and just kind of want to be a passive consumer and spectator.
No spectators.
Yeah, so just so you know, we want to do hard work here today.
Excellent.
All right, so just to give you a little bit more background, what we would like to do is just give you a little bit of a sense of some of the work that we've been doing at Gloo over the past year. And this is not in a way to say, oh, look at us, we're bragging about all the cool stuff we've been doing. It's more of a way to say, hey, we've been doing some stuff. We do not have enough resources, time, people, all the things, but we've started. It's not perfect. We've done some things. We're excited about that. And what we now see is a huge opportunity for us as a community to come together. Today is the start of that discussion. It was really last year at Missional AI with Biblica, the Biblica team that was up here. We were talking about this a little bit too. So this may be a continuation of the discussion with a little bit more intentionality to say, let's start something here and then go do it after this year's Missional AI.
And the key of that is being let us, right? It's not about Gloo. Gloo is showing the art of the possible. We are the ones who will decide what we can do together.
Yeah, so Gloo a year ago made a commitment, which is usually where this starts. Let's make a commitment. In fact, in 2008, on day 2 of the Obama administration, Memorandum 0202, I remember it very nicely, very exactly, was a commitment by the United States government at that moment in time to choose to be open. And I think that's what we did about a year ago. We were we don't know what this looks like. We know we don't want to do it alone, but we are choosing as an organization to be open. Now, that's hard, right? Oh man, now we're going to get all the pressure and the critique of people looking at code or looking at our research. We're you know what? It's better together. So we're going to do the hard work to open our stuff to the world, code, data, research, even the evaluator itself. And so just a few things we've been doing. The next slide here. So we are trying to build an open ecosystem. We've talked a lot about it as a builder ecosystem, a developer ecosystem. We do not see this as Gloo's ecosystem. YouVersion doesn't see it as YouVersion's ecosystem. We want to show up together and say, hey, we're two organizations that care about the church together. And we hope other organizations will join us. And so what if we chose to do this together and it's not a product, this is an ecosystem of humans doing really, really good work. And we're trying to ground everything in the values aligned foundation that we talked about yesterday and earlier just today. Contributing to standards that will outlast any single platform or product that we build. We want to make it easy to build and to contribute. And so we want to think about it that way, grow the community, not just a user base of our specific tools or products. By the way, Gloo AI Studio is cool. The YouVersion developer platform is cool. We'd love for you guys to use that. But I wonder what else we could do together as a community, even beyond those two things. And finally, there's a data aspect of all of this where we want to aggregate the data if we can and share it. Again, our ecosystem's fractured. There's a lot of data locked up in silos. and for very good reasons, but maybe some of that data could be released.
Drive better decision making.
Yep. All right. So what we are kind of titling it right now, totally we can just change it if you guys want to, but is the Flourishing AI Open Source Initiative. We want to be transparent. We want to be extensible. We want it to be community driven. And that's the standards, the evaluations, the tools for measuring how AI shapes human flourishing, both for good and for harm. Now, there's more to open source, like the code and the data, and those are all kind of in the details. But in general, what we're saying is we are doing a lot of work around the evaluations. And so maybe a really easy way to start is to consider the evaluations and the benchmarks themselves and say, are we asking the right questions? Is our methodology sound? Is this helpful? Should we be doing something different? And that's where our experiment is gonna be in today.
And I want to highlight, Nick might answer that question one way, Maylin might answer it a different way, Desiree might answer it is why community matters so much. We need that diversity of input.
So here's kind of what we've been doing. I'm gonna just explain each of these things really quick. So I just kind of broke it down into standards and evaluations, one row, research and insights, and then coding community. So last July, you heard me say yesterday, we released something called the Flourishing AI Single Turn Benchmark. We evaluated 20 models, what we call single turn, like we asked it a question, it gave us a response, we looked at the results. We did that for general, so FAIG, general, single turn. And that was our baseline. That's like a chalk in the sand. Like, how do models do against against human flourishing? The way this works is we have an evaluator, and we configure the evaluator with some things we'll talk about in a little bit and show you. And then we run the evaluation. Maylin does the work. And we look at the scores when Maylin's like, it worked, I have scores. And we're like, okay, what do those scores mean? And then we write that up into research. The technical white papers and the insights reports. The white papers explain the methodology. We published 2 of them so far. And the insights report explain the observations that we have based on the work, the research that we're doing. We are in the process of open sourcing the code for the evaluator for what we call the Flourishing AI Evaluator, the ones that we're using for the leaderboard. We're gonna put that on GitHub, on a repo, and anybody can download that evaluator, and then we're gonna put test data out there. And it's not the full data set, and I can explain all day long why we're not putting the full data set out there, but essentially, because others can game it if we do that, but we're gonna put out a representational, statistically significant sample of it so that everybody can duplicate it. And then maybe you'll be like, your guys' questions are horrible. I have better questions. Great. Use your questions, evaluate it, and we can share those things together. So we're doing all that now. And then next, we're actually gonna be doing some more standards and evaluations. We have FAI adversarial, where we look at all the ways we can attack AI through a biblical perspective and where it fails us. And we're gonna be putting out the research for that. We're gonna be putting out the code for that and the data around it, the insights reports. It's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be really, really soon. And then we also are doing some really cool work right now with Baylor University on what we call Flourishing AI, Christian multi-turn. So how does a model respond over multi-turn, multiple, you ask it a question, it responds. You ask it a question, it responds. That conversation over like 10 turns, does it change what it values and how it responds at turn 1 versus turn 10? So this is what we have planned and we're doing now. Next slide really quick. These are the papers. The one we just released Monday this week is called Evaluating Artificial Intelligence Through a Christian Understanding of Human Flourishing.
Hey, where can I read that?
I don't know. Where can we read that?
You can read that at gloo.com/FAI.
Is it on the website now?
Pat says it is.
All right, good. We believe it's there. And if not, we'll send you a text at the end of this thing. We can get right to you. But we would love for you to read that. It's like, 40 pages long. Beautiful appendices, great data tables.
Worked a lot.
Like, it is delightful.
We're really proud of it.
If you're nerdy like us, you're gonna be like, wow, this is cool. We would love for you to read that and be critical about it. One way we can participate as a community is to be honest with one another and say, guys, this is really interesting, but your methodology here could be improved if you did this, right? We love that type of feedback. Our hope in this is that we inspire more research, that we inspire more people to do evaluations, we inspire more people to release code and data, and that we do this all together. So the adversarial evaluator, I shared a little bit yesterday, like where we asked models that you use every day and showed kind of how it's creating harmful tool calls and prompts are not good enough to resolve that. So we're gonna be, again, releasing next the adversarial evaluator so you can do this type of stuff on your own models as well as, and we're gonna include a white paper on that that explains all the technical detail. All right, this is the leaderboard. If you go to FAI or gloo.com/FAI, you can see the different evaluations we've done by date. And then on the upper right, it's really kind of cool. You can compare and visualize between dates. So you can see how the models change over time. You can see how they do along each of the 7 dimensions of human flourishing, et cetera. All right. All right, is this the time? Okay, we don't need to go into that. Okay. Where'd the other one go? Go one more. Oh. There we go. Okay, so how we're thinking about evaluating the evaluators and creating a user participation system is 3 levels. So at the highest level, I think there are organizations such as Gloo, Biblica, YouVersion, and others that might want to participate kind of in a funding way, in a governance way, could come together and form a consortium. And so one of the questions we have is, anyone interested? Let us know. We'd love to talk to you about it. Then one level down is we could imagine contributors, subject matter experts, theologians, pastors, ministry leaders, practitioners, maybe 100 to 1,000 Ed Stetzers of the world that have a lot of thoughts about maybe theology, more than an engineer might. They have an expertise in this. Today, your role in this room is going to be a contributor. We're going to pretend you are all Ed Stetzer. I don't know how you feel about that, but you're all Ed Stetzer.
He's a great guy.
He's awesome. And we are going to have you, like Ed Stetzer, evaluate the responses that models give, and you're going to grade them from your expertise. We're going to show you how this could work. And then there's a third level, which is the community, everyone. And this is what happens when we choose, as our organizations and us individually, to put out the code and the data, and people fork that, and we pull that back in. That's how open source works. So you can imagine a level there. We don't have time to unpack all of this because they only gave us 30 minutes. So we're going to focus on the contributor section. And for that, I'm going to hand it over to Allie and to Maylin, and we're going to do an experiment. This is completely experimental. It likely will break. If you get frustrated, just stop. We're sorry, but we hope it works. And so what we're going to do is show you this really cool system we've built, show you how this could work, and then we'll see if it works.
Okay, so to walk you through what we're going to do, we have a number of question sets that have been answered by different models. It doesn't matter for this case what model it was. We're going to give you a QR code. You're going to scan it. You're going to put in a code, and it's going to ask you to read the conversation between the turns and the AI responses. And then it will ask you to grade it. There will be, I think, 8 rubric questions, and you will agree or disagree with the response of the rubric. All we're trying to do here is the LLM is graded in a certain way, and we're going to see how you grade it comparatively.
Yeah, we're essentially doing an analysis. You versus AI as a judge. AI as a judge is easy to scale. Humans as a judge, not so much. We just happen to have a room full of humans.
So real quick, scan the QR code. It's going to ask you to make an account or to log in with Google, which is always a handy dandy option.
Good job, Google.
So if we can go quickly, because we have 6 minutes and 45 seconds, take that QR code, make an account, and then I'm going to give you a code to log in. Maylin here is going to walk around, and she's going to help you if you're stuck. So wave your hand at her if you need help or are having trouble. She'll be watching. If you're good and you're ready for the code, give me a thumbs up. All right, here we go.
These are pro users. I love it.
I love it. It's good to work with professionals. So you should have a screen that looks like this, join an evaluation, and this is your login code, MZ5MK4. Everybody's code isn't the same. What it's going to give you is 5 conversations randomly selected that you can score. It should take you 3 or 4 minutes to score the conversation. Now, you might go, I don't know if I agree with this assessment. It's okay. Make the best assessment that you can. You won't do all 5 right now. We'll do 1 and then we'll move on. You're welcome to come back later today and do the other 4 in your phone if you want to continue to assess.
And these are real questions that we are really researching.
Yeah.
And so we are actually going to use you all as contributors to this. As human contributors. So when you make a judgment call here,
Yep.
we're going to do some work to kind of say, like, how did the humans judge this versus how did the AI judge this? So this is super, I mean, it might seem like a simple thing for you to do, but we're going to aggregate this all together into a useful thing.
If you're in, raise your hand. Okay, we're getting there. So you can see this is what the dashboard looks like. I know on phone it's going to look a little different, but you see here in the middle at the top, you see what the judge is, and that's the dimension of human flourishing, what the question that got asked, and what that conversation that happened. And then over here on the right side, you have the questions that you're going to answer in the rubric. Fortunately, we didn't give you 24 evaluation questions. I think we gave you 8.
Yeah.
So we'll give you another like 2 minutes on this. To see if you can finish the first conversational assessment. And feel free to wave or say something if you have questions. We're here to help.
Go back to the code.
Oh, yep. That one? Yeah, that's correct. MZ5, MK4.
Can you go back to the QR code? Yep, there you go.
Right there.
All right, has anybody completed it?
MZ5,
Oh, yeah.
MK4.
Okay. Sorry if there's so much text. LLMs are really chatty.
Our hope is that this gives you a sense of the kind of questions that are being asked, the kind of responses that are coming back, and how we're assessing those. Like Nick said, we don't release all of it, but we want you to have a flavor of what the LLM is doing and where we align with human insight.
All right, so we only have 30 minutes, which means we only have 2 minutes left. And what we would like to do is have you complete this. So keep doing this until you're done with the first one, with just one question. That's all you need to do. You get a sense of what we're trying to do here is like, imagine if you had 1,000 theologians evaluating the questions and we just said, hey, could you just do 5 for us? And we were able to aggregate them all together. We're not gonna be able to show you the results because not everyone's done yet, but you get a sense of kind of what we're trying to do here.
I will say we'll post a post about it on our Gloo Substack. So if you're interested in kind of that correlation, we'll write it up as part of our MAI follow-up.
Yeah, we will post that at the end of this week, and we'll say, hey, here's the results of what we saw. So it'll be pretty cool. For the last just 2 minutes of our time together, what we wanted to do was just have maybe just kind of an open discussion, a few questions, just get you thinking about some questions. We can have follow-up questions about this, but like, you know, when you think about what we're trying to do here as a community, what would this look like? What could an open source ecosystem look like? What kind of consortium could govern it? So that's not just one organization. If you're an organization and you would love to be part of something like this, you know, come talk to us. We would love to have a conversation. You know, and we would also love to know from just you generally what would be helpful. Would it be helpful if we were releasing our code or our prompts, doing evaluations like this, looking at it theologically?
And how that answer differs if you're a church or a media company or a technology company, small or large, it's different for all of us.
And then, you know, there's only so many of us in the room. So who's missing? Are there people doing this work already? Should we be talking to other people? What communities, traditions, institutions should we engage in this? We know the Catholic Church, through Notre Dame in particular, is doing a lot of really good stuff with Megan Sullivan there. You know, and then if you were going to contribute, you individually in this room, like what would you want to contribute? Technical skills, your time, money, resources, your people, community access, data, code, like what type of things would you love to contribute? So with that, maybe I'll just, if anybody has any comments, thoughts, questions, concerns.
We want to hear them.
We'd love to hear them. So does anyone have any just feedback? And then I'll run the microphone around and we'll just have a really quick discussion. Let's see if it works.
Can you just clarify what range of faith traditions Gloo is kind of anchored on, and what are kind of the boundaries?
Oh my gosh, it goes right for the jugular. I love it. I mean, it's a complicated question, right? So I think that if you agree with the Nicene Creed, that's a good place to start. We try to focus on the things we agree on rather than the things that divide us. And so even you'll see in the questions, the evaluations, the research that we do, we tend to stay away from things that are a bit more, culture war or controversial or things that just divide the church unnecessarily, because I don't know if they're helpful for the evaluations. So we'd say Christianity from that perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's helpful.
Great question.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Is anyone doing open source work right now in this room? You don't have to be shy. Does anyone want to share what they're doing?
The hands go back down.
Okay, how about this? Who is doing open source code work? Raise your hand. Okay, cool. Who has released data? All right, Biblica's...
Way to go, Biblica.
Who is doing research, technical white papers, and academically peer-reviewed published journals? All right, I love it. Who is aggregating the contributions of people that don't work for you?
Definitely.
That, I feel like, is an opportunity possibly. The church is large and they're not all here, so we could possibly be doing something like that. So I think just to kind of land this plane, because we're out of time, we just want to give you a taste of what it could be like if we chose to do this openly, to do it transparently, to collaborate, to participate. And we would really, really like to have a conversation. So if you are interested, reach out to us, Allie, Llewellyn, Nick Skytland, anyone at Gloo. You can find us on LinkedIn, by email, wherever.
At the Gloo table, they'll have our cards.
At the Gloo table. And we would love to continue the conversation with you. And with that, I think we have a 30-minute break, and then there's another round of sessions. Yeah.
I want your main takeaway to be this. You are the contributors. Like, we're not inviting you, hey, you should open source. You should, but you already are part of this community. So decide how you want to contribute. Decide how you want to encourage your organization to do so, because we're better together. And so we want that taste that Nick was talking about. We're so hopeful that you want to lean in and be part of the community, because it's better because you're here. So one of the great ways you can do that is this summer, we're working with YouVersion for the Summer Virtual Challenge. It's going to be an amazing opportunity. There are going to be a number of different choose your own adventures, ways you can contribute, things you can engage in. So check out, if you're interested in that, check out gloo.com/MAI. And there's more information there.
And then secondly, we mentioned the hackathon. This is a great place to just continue this as well. We're going to be doing that at the Limelight in Boulder, Colorado, October 6th to the 8th. It's going to be amazing. We are considering doing it in other locations around the world as well.
Who's been to our hackathon? Who's never been to our hackathon? Okay. This is your year.
This is it. It's 2026. It's going to be. Who's never been to a hackathon before? Okay. It's a lot of fun, y'all. You need to come.
There is space for you. We've been talking about how we specialize in aggregating contributions. If you're like, well, I don't build apps, or I'm not a developer, there is space for you. We aggregate everyone's contribution. And in 2026, everyone's a builder.
All right. Well, with that, give yourself a round of applause.
Well done.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks, guys.